During this video about Adobe Experience Design, we will conclude the course of lessons carried out within Adobe XD. So we will continue to talk about animations and interactions. So we will see how we can make better the graphic aspect of our elements, and also we will talk about the last tools and we will do the last clarifications. So we can start our video by talking about the landing page. We can consider the landing page as a home page, but we call it landing page because usually it is kind of like a welcome page. For example, it can be a sort of message that dissolves and takes us to the home page. We can define the landing page kind of like an entrance to our app or our website that leads us directly into our website or our app. So, in the last video, we saw how to articulate our web page with a hierarchical structure. So, we saw why it is better to have a hierarchical structure for our website rather than a vertical or an horizontal structure. We saw how we can create a menu that carries its links thanks to the components, and we know that into Adobe Experience Design we have a set of options to create our graphics and our animation, but they are usually used programs like Photoshop or Illustrator to cure the graphics, and then they are imported into Adobe XD. So we can create our graphics into Adobe XD, but sometimes it is better to use other programs. If we do not have these programs, for example, Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop, we can always do a Google research. Let's try and go to Google and write, for example, free website template Photoshop and also free app template Illustrator. And let's do an image research. So we can see here what we have regarding the websites, and also here we can see by searching with the images what we have regarding the apps. So usually these images lead us to this website, which is FreePic that we saw into previous videos, and it is a very useful site because if we do not have other programs to create our graphics, we have here a lot of possibilities, a lot of templates, and we can add a lot of filters. For example, we can choose for the category, we can choose to make only the free licenses visible, we can choose for the colors, the style, and of course we can also search what we want to download. So for example, we will write landing page, and of course we want to have a landing page template that we can open directly into Adobe XD. So usually these files are, for example, in a EPS format, which we could convert into an SVG, a PSD, or an AI format, but if we want to have a format that we can open right away, we can choose PSD into the category. So we can download one of these templates and we can choose, for example, this one, and we can click on download. It is a free template, but it is required the attribution to FreePic. So we can download this template, and now we have our zip. So once it's open, we can see what we have here. So we have the PSD file, the JPG file, and of course we have the license. So in this case, we only need the PSD file, so we can click on it, and with the right side of our mouse, we can go to extract in a specific folder, and we can extract it into our folder. So we can now go back to Adobe XD and import our landing page. So we go to File, and import, and we go to our folder, and we can now open our landing page. So we can click on import, and now we have our landing page in our workspace. So let's go closer. And of course, this is a PSD file, so we can go to the layers and hide the things that we do not want to see. And we can also double click a lot of times and take some of the elements that we want to use in our file. These are all vector elements in this case, so we can also double click again on the elements and double click on the handles, and we can edit these shapes. So we can of course change also the colors of these shapes. For example, let's go to fill and let's choose a green and have more opacity. So we can use this element in our home page. Of course, this is a really simple shape, so we could have created this also into Adobe XD, but of course, we can always use the templates to help the process and make it easier. We can now go to the Auto Animate file and see an example of landing page. In fact, if we go a little closer to these last artboards, we can see that we have here written, Auto Animate can be used to simulate a parallax effect for web pages or mobile apps. Simply change the position of your layers and Auto Animate will do the rest. So, in this case, we can see the preview, and it is a time interaction, and this is a very cool example of a landing page and then home page. In this case, we have the landing page with only the image above everything, and into the home page we have the text above the image. So we can also see some of these interactions. Some of them we have already seen, but we can see that we have here all tabs, interactions, in which we click with our mouse and we can see the interaction. In this case, we change the color of these elements with our tab, but there is also another way in which we can do this, and we've seen it in the previous video, but we can do an example from here. In fact, we can create a similar effect by using the components. So we can copy and paste this artboard, and we can erase everything but the rectangle, and we can make it a component. Now we have this color for the default state, and we can create a new state, and we can change the opacity. We can have this color. Okay. We have this for the default state and this for this state too. Now we can go to prototype, and we can click on our component and create our link, and we can choose for the destination state 2. In this case, when we do our preview, we can just click to change the color one time. If we want to go back from the color that's more light to this more dark blue, we can do another link. So we can select the state 2, and we can create the link, and we can choose the default state for the destination, and now we can go back to the default state, go to the preview, and in this way, when we click, we can come back from one color to another. So in this case, they have made 2 different artboards to create this link, but you can also do it into this way. Let's now see the responsive design. We can copy, for example, these 2 artboards. So we can click on Ctrl+C and then Ctrl+V, and we can move them here. And we can go back to the design area, And now we can select one of these two artboards and we can click on Responsive Resize so that we have it on. Now, if we change the size of this artboard, the elements into it will also change their dimensions. For example, if we do not select Responsive Resize, so when it is not activated and we change the dimensions of the artboard, as you can see, these elements remain the same. Let's make these two artboards the same dimensions. We have 1039 and we can write them here too, 1039. And now let's move this artboard here, and we did not have activated the Responsive Resize, so we can write it again. And as you can see, with the Responsive Resize activated, we also have these elements in this way. Let's see if by changing the dimensions of the elements, we have some differences into the preview. Let's go to Play, and as you can see, even if we have changed the dimensions of these elements of these artboards, we do not have any changes into the preview. Let's see the original preview. As you can see, we have the same type of interaction, just bigger in here. Let's now see some of the animations into this file, so we can do some previews. In this case, we have time animations, so we do not have to touch anything to see the animation, only the preview. As we can see, I am not touching anything, and these are really cool interactions for website and app. As you can see, they are all artboard animated within each other. Let's see what we have here, some drag examples. We saw the drag option into the previous video. In this case, we can go through these pictures, and if we click onto the picture, we can make it larger. In this case, we have a drag, but it is a vertical drag, so that we have this effect. Let's see this last one. In this case, we can erase our elements. Here we have a countdown. As we can see, I did not touch anything, so it is a time interaction, as you can see from here. And now we can see the last work area of Adobe XD. As we know, we have the design area, the prototype area, and the share area. As we said in the previous videos, to share our files, we have to have an Adobe Creative Cloud account and, of course, our internet connection on. To activate an Adobe Creative Cloud account, you can go to Help and to Manage My Account, or you can also go to the Adobe Creative Cloud webpage, and in here you will have all of the informations that you need about Adobe Creative Cloud. So you can also have the links here to download Adobe Creative Cloud. When you want to share a document, a file, to someone, you will have also to save it before into the Creative Cloud. So, when you want to invite someone to the document, you will have to click in here. As you can see, invite collaborators to access and edit your document. Of course, when you give the access to someone to your document, you also give him the access to edit your document. If we click on here, we can see that before we can share our document, we have to save it. So we can click on Continue, and we can save it into the Creative Cloud. And once we have saved our file, we can click again on this icon, and we can see that it is saving our document. And once it's saved, we can invite the people to edit our document. As we know, we can see the preview of our file in our desktop, but we can also see the preview of our document in our mobile device. So, when we click on here, we can see that to enable live device preview on iOS, download the latest versions of iTunes and connect your device via USB. And also, to preview on Android, you have to save your file as a cloud document and then open it using the XD mobile app. Let's click on XD mobile app. In this case, we have a lot of information about XD and its app, and it is very simple to have the preview on your smartphone. In fact, in this case, we have an Apple device. You just have to have your USB port to the computer with the latest version of iTunes. Of course, you can download the Adobe XD app in the App Store if you have an iPhone, and of course you also can download it into an Android smartphone. And also, the last thing that we can do is when we click on preview, we can also record our preview. In fact, if we click on here or we click on Win plus G, we can record our prototype. In this case, of course, we create a video of our preview. So, when we send the video, the one who is watching the video cannot interact with the elements that we have created. It will be kind of like a presentation, but of course, into Adobe XD, you can always click on the elements to see them in action. In the video, you will only see them in action without clicking anything. So, this is all for this series of videos about Adobe Experience Design. We have now seen the functions of Adobe XD, but we also have seen the limits of Adobe XD, but it is always evolving, so we expect that we have a lot of new things into this program, which is always really useful to have an idea of our website, of our app, and we can also create a lot of cool graphics and things and animations. So, if you have any questions, you can ask them in the comments. I invite you to see the other tutorials into this channel, and thank you.